So,
Patch
first
notes
up, we
time.
have some changes to
Ooh,
Khatoon.
Khatoon changes.
I was gonna say Khatoon there. So we're making changes to Angry Storm and Ultimate Authority. So those are the zone attacks. The first one that you do while you're running towards your opponent, and the second one is after you pin your opponent with Bloody Wrath. So
Honestly, forgot this character
for the one while
exists.
you're running, we improved the weapon trajectories to better match the weapon visuals. So we extended the trajectory, like the hitbox of the weapon, so that it'll hit external opponents a little bit better. And we've also made the trajectory start a little bit earlier. So that's one thing that it's not always obvious for players. It's a number we can tweak to go during the strike. We can change when the trajectory becomes active. And so in this case, it became active at 466 ms. We're buffing that to start at 433. So it can hit 33 ms earlier when the attack starts. So it might not seem like a big change, but it's one of those little levers that we have that we can tweak things to make the attacks a little bit better. So that's a nice buff for that. And
I'll have to try that
Ultimate
out.
Authority, which
See
is
how
the
that
one
plays.
after Bloody Wrath, we improved the trajectory again to hit more people around you. It was a bit lackluster, so with that change, it should hit people out externally a bit more consistently.
Gotcha.
Next up, we have some slight buffs to Nobushi, right? So Side Dodge, Cobra Strike, and Sidewinder form now have increased sideways movement. So when you're dodging towards the side, whatever dodge attack you're performing, you're going to move a little bit further. So that's a bit of a buff to her group fight. We know, right, and we're quite aware that she has issues in 1v1. We're looking into it to figure out what we can do. I know people go, hey, just put the kickfire in a mess. And it's something that we've tried, but it breaks the animation too much. It doesn't look good. It doesn't fit to our standards. And I'd rather we take our time a little bit more, figure out an interesting solution. We have some cool stuff that we're testing out that's in the pipeline, but we're not 100% there yet. So in the meantime, we're doing some slight buffs to Nobushi to her group fights, again, to make her a little bit more viable. She's already really good in group fights, that works.
Yeah.
So we're buffing those things for side dodge, for Cobra Strike, and for Sidewinder to help her deal a little bit more with these things.
Looking for a 1v1 buff. Okay.
On her kick.
They're working on it,
To give her that a bit more range. It'll be a bit easier to engage people externally, get that sort of stuff going. It'll help against people that are just backwalking again in neutral. So it's a bit of a buff here. But again, increasing the speed didn't make any sense. The animation wasn't didn't look good. Slowing it down and making it faintable has the issue here a little bit of, because she has to go into a hidden stance first, a lot of the time, not always, but most of the time, it creates problems where if it takes too long, then it's too easy to backwalk. And then when you're able to backwalk it and the kick comes out way later, then we have to give it more forward movement to catch, and then it just looks really unnatural. So there's things that we have to figure out that we get into not to get too much into the weeds, but
okay, understandable.
How we can buff Nobushi's ones so that she has offense. Again, she's super strong in group fights, so she probably just needs a little bit of help in ones to get more viable in ones. But we're looking at what we can do to round out her kit a little bit better to have more interesting things.
Nice. Good.
Then we have Varangian Guard. So we're one big nerf.
Wow, that's actually a good nerf. Wow.
And finishers are no longer enhanced. I know some players are asking they want to have more. They want to have nerfs to the downstands. They want to have nerfs to some things. So again, we've been changing things a little bit. This is one of the big outliers, right? Because the thing that this hero has that is, from what we've seen in the data, from what we've been looking at, because those lights are always enhanced, the problem that tends to happen is, even if you end up blocking one of those opener lights, she's able to go into her heavy finishers constantly.
Yes.
And there's very little risk against most of the player base to throwing enhanced lights, right? At super top level, they're able to parry them. It's not so bad, but the hero is not massively overperforming at top level. But for the rest of our player base, it's a bit more problematic. And then you have those really, really, really powerful, unblockable finishers that pin, that loop back into a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
So by removing those enhanced properties there, it makes Varangian need to actually do her front dodge bash, to do more stuff to get into the action and to initiate against other people. It's a bit riskier to use as well. So we're focusing on this for now. We're also going to keep an eye on the hero as it goes forward, how this affects the win rate, the pick rate, all that sort of stuff, to see if this helps address the problem or not.
Are we going back to Varangian Guard now?
The hero down the line, but we'd like I said, it's something. It's a bit of a difference that we're trying to do sometimes, where we go step by step, and it might take longer for a hero to get into.
Not gonna lie, Varangian Guard for me,
never really perfect in those positions, but it makes them a little
too
bit
strong.
better
that's why I didn't use it
without nuking the hero from orbit, right? And so that's something we used to do that sometimes in the past when heroes were too problematic, but then it ends up feeling bad. It feels bad for everybody, right? Like you're playing your hero, and then all of a sudden, it's borderline unplayable now.
Yeah,
that just feels bad. So we're trying to go like step by step.
But I do like the hero.
Yeah,
I like the aesthetic. It's a Viking. I love Vikings. So I wanna play the hero, but it was like a tad bit too much.
And then last but not least, Warmonger. So Warmonger, interestingly enough, has an extremely high win rate in both Dominion and in duels. So this is why some of those changes
Warmonger
are
nerf
specifically tied to like both. We didn't want to change your feats too much right now because the problem that we see in the data, what we have is that, again, she's overperforming. She's really picked, but she's also overperforming in both duels and Dominion. So it's not the problem is not necessarily the feats, but it might be part of it. But we wanted to address this part of her kit first to see what we can do. So first up, our opener lights are no longer enhanced, right? So this means that, yeah, she still has to do front dodge bash to get into her offense. It also means that it's going to be a little bit more difficult to loop her bash into light into another follow-up.
Right.
So we're going to see how this ends up affecting the hero. I know it's a bit controversial. I know some players are going to be like I'm sure chat right now is not extremely excited, but at the same time, sometimes we have to do these changes to see where it's going to affect. And I'd rather it goes live and then we see what ends up happening. We can change things around than just doing a testing grounds and it takes forever. It takes longer for stuff to get in. So this is going to affect the win rate right now. It should affect it a little bit and get into that position where it feels better to fight against her. And we get into a better position here. We also nerfed Impale. So it travels 6.5 meters forward instead of 8. So it's a little bit of a nerf here. It's a test that we're doing to keep it on a heavy parry. I know like Lawbringer players are probably like, again, like, oh my God, I got to remove a Lawbringer, right? And I get it. But on Warmonger, we wanted to try to keep it, but have less travel distance. So this should help, especially in duels where we have where we have smaller arenas. It's going to make those wall splats happen less often. It lowers the damage you get off of a heavy parry. So it's still going to happen, but it's going to happen less often. And it helps guide players into the right place where, is this okay? Or do we need to adjust further? Again, it's incremental changes that we keep going over and over. But we're trying to figure out how can we put Warmonger specifically in the right spot in duels and then see how much it affects the minion as well, and then readjust accordingly. Again, I don't want us to nuke anybody from orbit. I don't want to make any hero unplayable. It's not fun for everyone, so it's kind of where we're going.
Gotcha. Okay.
And this is it for our patch notes.
Nice.
Oh, that's it.
Right there, yeah.
Nope.
Thank you. All right, okay.
Ending notes.
So that's it for our patch notes. So really, we're pushing towards doing more incremental changes. We're gonna have I think the patch notes for the next one are pretty nice. There's good stuff coming. There's a cool testing ground coming as well in our next season. Lots of stuff to look forward to. Again, test these out whether you like it or not. Give us feedback. It's okay. And then we'll keep it. We take everything into account. I know people think I just read Reddit. I look at everything. We get community reports. We get everything. So don't worry. Any feedback you give us is going to come to us eventually, right?
Very true.
That's good. And again, I'd rather people give feedback, even if it's negative, than giving no feedback. No feedback, I can't act on anything. We can't direct the team. We can't go anywhere if there's zero feedback. If there's feedback and it's negative, it helps us make decisions. If it's feedback and it's positive, it also helps us make decisions because we know we're on the right track. So give us feedback. Complain if you want. Totally fine. Praise us. It's totally fine. I love to get praised.
You like that too.
So that's kind of how it works. But that's the idea here. So really, any interaction that we can have with our amazing community, people love our game, people play, it's great. And all that stuff is accepted. Don't think we're gonna be unhappy or whatever. I don't think anybody's worried too much about this. But we're all human, right? And so it's important to get into that feedback loop of understanding exactly where things are, where we want them to go, where players want to go, and how our goals align.
All right. Well,
be amazing.
Perfect.
Decent.
Absolutely.
I like it.
So thank you.
I like the changes. A couple characters for us to test out tomorrow.
Folks, so you got the lowdown on the deep dive into balance now. But stick around because coming up next.